Hello and welcome. In today's video, we will talk about fractions. This lesson has been prepared for students who are taking the grade 9 academic course MPM 1D, but it can also be used by students who are taking the grade 9 applied course MFM 1P. This lesson will serve as a part of the review of prerequisite skills for grade 9s, and the following are the items we'll review together. Number 1. The lowest common multiple of two or more numbers. Number 2. The lowest common denominator of two or more fractions. These two items are similar to each other. Number 3. Adding fractions. And number 4. Subtracting fractions. Again, adding and subtracting work similarly. So let's get started. The lowest common multiple is the smallest positive integer that is a multiple of two or more numbers. That's the definition of it. So we'll write it down here. So the smallest positive integer that is a multiple of two or more numbers. Okay? I hope you don't find the tapping very annoying, but my pen is kind of very hard-tipped here, so. Oh, more numbers. Okay, so if this statement didn't make much sense to you, nothing to worry. We are going to explain it by using numbers, by using real tools. So, we're going to take as an example the numbers 2 and 3, and we'll try to find the lowest common multiple of them. We're going to start with number 2, and we're going to say that the multiples of 2 are number 2 itself, 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 4, that's another multiple of 2, 2 times 3, 6, here goes another multiple. Well, 2 times 4, that's 8, 2 times 5, 10, 2 times 6, 12, 2 times 7, 14, and we can continue on forever. We can find so many multiples of them to infinity, actually. So, and then we look at number 3. For number 3, we're going to say number 3 has multiples 3 times 1, 6, which is 3 times 2, and then 9, 3 times 3, right? And then 3 times 4, which is 12, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 6, 18, 3 times 7, 21, and again we can continue on forever, but we don't want to. So, we're going to say that all these numbers are multiples of 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, they're all multiples of 2, and more. And numbers 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, they're all multiples of 3. And now, remember we're talking about a common multiple, right? So the lowest common multiple. So do you see in the list of the multiples of 2 and 3, do you see multiples that are common for both numbers? So you'd say, I see number 6 is a multiple of 2 and is a multiple of 3 as well. Are there more common multiples? Then we're going to say, probably notice that we have 12, a multiple of 2, and 12, a multiple of 3 as well. So these are all common multiples. But if we continued on a little bit more, we probably find more common multiples. But the idea is that we are trying to find only the lowest common multiple. And the lowest common multiple, in this case, for numbers 2 and 3, would be 6. So we say that the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. That would be the answer. Okay? Now we'll continue on with a new example where we have to find the lowest common multiple of 3 numbers. Now, as you see, these numbers are bigger compared to numbers 2 and 3. And that will make finding the lowest common multiple a bit more complicated, because imagine having to find all the multiples of 6. So you go 6, and then you have to go 6 times 2, and 6 times 3, and 6 times 5. It has to be all the positive multiples, right? Which has to be an integer in itself. So that can be a little bit cumbersome because we don't want to deal with so many big numbers and use a calculator. So we have developed a strategy, and this is one of my favorite strategies that I want to share with you. Okay, so the first thing I do is I list the numbers 6, 8, and 15 right below each other. And then I draw a line at the bottom. The line at the bottom is served in here for the lowest common multiple. And this is how I find the lowest common multiple. On the side, I am going to write the prime factors of each number. Now, if you don't know what prime factors are, then just like the word says it, they're factors of each number, so factors of 6, that are in the meantime prime numbers. Remember that prime numbers in a list of integers such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to stop at 11, I promise. So in a list of these numbers, we're going to say that numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 have something in common. And what they do have in common is the fact that they can only be written as a product of the number itself and 1. You cannot break them down into other factors. So such numbers are called prime numbers. Okay? On the contrary, and we can use this as a counter example, numbers such as 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 are not prime numbers because you can write them as a product of the number and 1, but you can also write them as other possible products. So for example, number 4 can also be 2 times 2. Number 6 is also 3 times 2. Number 8 is 4 times 2. Number 9 is 3 times 3. So we're going to say that these are not prime numbers. So we're breaking down each number given here, 6, 8, and 15, into their prime factors. Now we don't want to list 1 because 1 doesn't really change the value of a number. So we're going to say 2 and 3 are the factors of 6. Number 8 has the prime factors 2 times 2 times 2. So it is the product of 3 same numbers, right? 2 times 2 times 2. So the first 2, I'm going to list it right below the common factor with 6. For the other factors of 2, I will reserve a special spot. That's important on how we organize information here. And number 15 has 2 factors, numbers 3, and I am going to list 3 right below the factor of 6 in here, which is 3, and 5. So we're going to say 3 and 5 are the factors of 15, and because we don't have any spots for 5 yet, right, we will give it a special spot, its own spot, I should say. And this is what happens after. We are going to take each and every factor down. So these 2, and this 2, and this one, and this one, and this one will act as the factors of the lowest common multiple. And we're going to say that we have the numbers 2, and then 3, and then 2, and then 2, and then 5. And if you multiply them all together, 2 times 3, 6, times 2, 12, times 10, 120, we're going to say that the lowest common multiple would be 120. This is the smallest number that is a multiple of all 3 of them. Okay? So we'll move on to the next example. Hopefully we'll repeat the same thing so that we can understand the process a little better. You know, when you learn a new way of doing something, do not try to torture yourself thinking that, oh, this is so difficult, I can never understand that. Try to look at it with the goal of trying to get an idea of what is going on, okay? And don't be discouraged by not understanding something the first time you hear it. So try to listen to it the second time. You should understand it. You should be able to, okay? So try to say this to yourself, because what we say to ourselves, we start believing it slowly, okay? So here we have numbers 19, 7, 13. So we have numbers 19, 7, 13. Now you probably notice right away that number 19 can only be 1 times 19, but we don't need to write the factor of 1 because it does nothing. Number 7, it can be just 1 times 7. So number 13, it's just 1 times 13. So all these numbers are prime numbers, so they all have a factor, one factor, that deserves a special spot. So we're going to say that for the lowest common factor, I like that green here, the lowest common denominator, sorry about that, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, we're not there, it's a lowest common multiple, something wrong. Okay, here we have 12, 7, and 13. So we go 19 times 7 times 13. You multiply them all together, 19 times 7 times 13. And we get the answer. The answer is 1729. So the lowest common multiple is 1729. Okay? Last question or last example. Again, if you wish, you can try this on your own. Stop the video. We have two numbers, 4 and 16. So I will list them below each other. So it's best I start with the bigger numbers. Doesn't really make much of a difference, but better have the bigger numbers first, the smaller numbers after. And then we're going to write 16 in terms of its prime factor. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Number 4 is simply 2 times 2. So we have a spot for each 2, right? Each of the 2's in 4. And then we'll say that the lowest common multiple would equal, let's bring them all down. So this 2, this 2, this 2 here, and this 2 here. So it will be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 4 times. And the lowest common multiple would equal 16. That would be the lowest common multiple of 4 and 16. Okay? And that's the answer there. Now, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is very similar to what we just learned, the lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator, as a matter of fact, is the lowest common multiple of the denominators. The lowest common multiple of the denominators. Okay, so as an example, here we have 13 over 45 and 2 over 9. We need to find the lowest common denominator, which means that we first need to spot where the denominators are, identify them. So the denominators are 45 and 9. So I'll write 45 first and 9 after. The factors of 45 are number 3, and then another 3, and then 5. 3 times 3 times 5 will give 45. They're all prime numbers. Number 9 is 3 times 3. And we have the spots for number 3 here. So we'll go ahead and draw the line. And we'll find the lowest common denominator to be, bring 3 down, and then this 3, and then this 5. And we'll say that we have 3 times 5. The answer is 9 times 5, 45. So the lowest common denominator equals 45. Bam. Okay. So why do we need to find the lowest common denominator? We need to sometimes find lowest common denominators because it is in our best interest, while we solve problems, to make the denominators the same, oftentimes. So if we have a fraction such as 13 over 45 and 2 over 9, if you want to make denominators the same, you say, well, I can make 9 into a 45 by simply multiplying 9 by 5. Remember, in fractions, we need to do the same thing to both numerator and denominator. So that will change it to become 10 over 45. So we'll say that now these two fractions will be with the same, or will have the same denominators. Next question. 5 over 6 and 1 over 15. Again, denominators are 6 and 15. I will list them. I write the bigger one first, the smaller one after, and then draw the line at the bottom for the lowest common denominator. Number 15 has the prime factors 3 and 5. Number 6 has the prime factors 3 and 2. So 2 didn't appear anywhere in here, so it's going to need a new spot here. So we're going to say that we have 3, we have 5 to bring down, and we have 2. So we have 3, we have 5, we have 2, and that will contribute, or will make our lowest common denominator, which will be 30. So 30 is the smallest multiple of 6 and 15, and since they are denominators, it will be the lowest common denominator of these two expressions. Which means again that if we wanted to write these two numbers with same denominators, then we should be able to write the 5 over 6 and 1 over 15 as fractions with same denominator 30, which means again that this can be 30 by multiplying by 5, this can be 30 by multiplying by 2. So it is possible. We know the lowest common. Now remember, in fractions we need to do the same thing to top and bottom, or numerator and denominator. So we're going to say that the fractions will become 25 over 30 and 5 over 30 with same denominators. It's the same value, okay, but now expressed differently with same denominators. We're going to do one last example together with common denominators, and if you feel like you got this, go ahead and try it on your own. It's more fun when we do things on our own. So we have negative 1 over 2, 3 over 4, 36 over 5. We're dealing with lowest common denominator, so denominator 2, 4, 5. So biggest number, 5, then we have 4, then we have 2. So 5 would be 5 times 1, just 5. 4 would be 2 times 2, so we need special spots. Number 2 is 2 times 1, so we already have a spot for 2. So we'll go ahead now, draw the line. We got our lowest common denominator spot, which would equal, bring 5 down, bring these 2 down, and this 2 as well. So we have 5 times 2 times 2. So the lowest common denominator is 5 times 2, 10 times 2, 20. So if we wanted to make these fractions with same denominator, then we would say that the smallest denominator, common denominator we can give them is 20. And all the denominators can be turned to 20 because 20 is a multiple of all of them. For example, we can make negative 1 over 2 into a 20 with denominator 20 by multiplying by 10. Right? So this will change to become negative 10 over 20. For the next number 3 over 4, we can make the denominator 20 by multiplying by 5, both numerator and denominator. So this will become 15 over 20. And last but not least, we can make 36 over 5 with denominator 20 by multiplying by 4. So that would be 6 times 4, 24, 144 over 20. So you see now all these fractions will have same denominators, but in the meantime they still have, or they have kept their values. Okay? So the next topic would be adding and subtracting fractions. In order to add and subtract fractions, we need to write them with the same denominator. So step number 1 will be write each fraction with the same denominator and then add fractions, and by just adding the numerators and keeping the same denominator. So these are the 2 steps. Let's start with the first example. Step 1, write them with the same denominator. Now 54 and 4 have the lowest common denominator equal to, you have to figure this out. We go 54 and 4. So 54 can be divisible by 2, that's for sure. And if I divide 54 by 2, I get 27. So it has a 3, and then another 3. So 2 times 3, 6 times 3, 18 times 3, 24, 54. Number 4 has the multiples 2 and 2. We don't have another spot for 2, so we need a new one. Draw the line. So lowest common denominator is equal to, bring 2 down, bring 3 down, bring 3 down, the other 3, and then the 2. So we're multiplying them all. 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 2. So 6 times 3 times 3 times 2. So it would be equal to 108. So lowest common denominator is 108. Which means that in order to add these 2 fractions, we have to make them with denominator 108. So 13 divided by 54 will become 108 if you multiply it by 2, both numerator and denominator. Now plus and minus in here will make a minus. So we'll write minus there. 1 over 4. So number 4 can become 108 by multiplying by, let's see, 27. And the way that you figure out 27 is this. If I want a number to multiply 4 by to get 27, then I get the lowest common denominator 108, and you divide it by 4. You divide it by 4, 108, and then divide by 4, and then you get 27 there. So 13 times 2 is 26, divided by 108 minus 27 over 108. Now this is how we subtract these 2 fractions. So when we subtract, we subtract just the numerator, so 26 minus 27, and we keep the same denominator, 108. So that's negative 1 over 108. Why do we do this? I'll bring you in an example, a very simple example from everyday life. Whenever we are talking about, adding quantities that are not wholes, for example, pizza. So if you say that I have a third of a pizza now and a third of a pizza later, in total, you'd say that you had 2/3 of a pizza. Okay? So what we were practically doing here is adding the two fractions. So we say 1 over 3 and 1 over 3 will be 2 over 3. So a third and a third equals 2/3. That's kind of easy for us to see because most of us like pizza. Okay, and let's say, for example, that you ate a quarter of a pizza first time, and then you ate a third of a pizza later. Would you say that you get 2/4 or 2/3? No. You need to make the denominators the same for you to be able to say, oh, I get these many portions of a pizza, right? And this is the science behind making the denominator same before adding. All right? I'll move on to the next example. In the next example, we have quite some interesting numbers and negatives. You see, when you have a negative in the denominator, never keep the denominators negative. It's so confusing. Keep your denominators positive. So bring that negative sign in the numerator. Leave positive 2 in the denominator. The number will have the same value. But because we need to operate with denominators, make them the same, we don't want to get confused with the signs as well. Okay? So that's why we want to get rid of one of the problems or little things in here. And then we have plus and a minus next to each other. So that's another problem we need to take care of. And I hope you remember that when you have a plus and a minus next to each other, that makes a minus. The last problem we're encountering here is this number. It's in mixed form. Remember, when we add or subtract fractions, we want them to be in the same form. So either as proper or improper fractions. So we can compare apples to apples, right? So we need to convert this number into improper form. So 3 times 1 plus 1, that's 4 over 3. So 1 and 1/3 equals 4/3. Now we have to simplify. We need to make denominators the same. This is one easy denominator to find. The lowest common denominator here would be 6, which means that we need to make number 2 into a 6. There we go. There we go. And number 3 into a 6, so multiply by 2. Remember, top and bottom. So now we have negative 21 over 6 minus 8 over 6. We keep the denominator the same, 6, and we work out the numerators, negative 21 minus 8. That's negative 29 over 6. You don't want to reduce this because you can't, because 29 is a prime number. Now the next question, the next example, we have 3 fractions. The denominators are 6, 3, and 9. So for number 9, we can say we have 3 times 3 times 3. For number 6, we have 3 times 2. Number 3 has simply 3. So lowest common denominator would be 3. So these 3's here, times 3 times 3. Oh, sorry. We got an extra 3 here. I'm sorry about this. 1 second. I made a small, like, tiny mistake. So here, 9 equals 3 times 3. 6 is 3 times 2. And 3 is simply 3 times 1. So we're going to draw the line. And we're going to say that we need to find lowest common, we need to bring the 3 down, then this 3, and then the 2. So 3 times 3 times 2. So that would be 18. That will make lowest common denominator 18. So now we have 5 over 6. Remember, plus minus will make a minus. So minus 1 over 3. Again, plus or minus will make a minus, minus 6 over 9. We want to make the denominators the same. The denominator has to be 18, which means multiply by 3 here. That means multiply numerator by 3, multiply by 6, multiply numerator by 6, multiply by 2, multiply the numerator by 2. So our expression will change to become 15 over 18 minus 6 over 18 minus 12 over 18. Voila, we have all the terms with the same denominator. So we'll draw the line here. We'll keep our denominator 18, and we'll work with the numerator 15 minus 6 minus 12. So minus 18 plus 15, that's minus 3 over 18. This ended up being a very nice number. You can reduce this to lowest terms possible by dividing by 3, both numerator and denominator, and the answer will be negative 1 over 6. Now, I bet that probably some of you noticed and were wondering, why didn't we simplify here? Okay? Could we have simplified 6 over 9? Could we have reduced it? Yes, definitely. I just kept it the same, just so we could go over the review or the practice of denominators, finding lowest common denominators, because that could be a more interesting sort of case. But yes, you could have, or we could have reduced in here, okay, as well. Now, when it comes to subtracting fractions, it's the exact same idea. And what I am going to do is practice with you just the last example, as this lesson is becoming too long. And the last example actually summarizes all the other different scenarios that we had in the previous ones. So here we go. The last example, we have negative 5 over 8, minus negative 1 over 4, plus negative 1, 3 over 2. We're running into a couple of problems in here. First of all, whenever we see two signs next to each other, we want to simplify that. So we have two minuses. That should make a plus. We have a plus and a minus. That should make a minus. So we'll take care of that. Negative 5 over 8. The two minuses will make a positive, 1 over 4. And plus and minus will make a minus. The next problem we're running into is this mixed number. We don't want to have mixed numbers. We want to have fractions, proper or improper. So this will be 2 times 1, 2, plus 3, 5. So that's 5 over 2. We're sort of happy now because we have all fractions, at least they look the same. And now we have to take care of the denominators, because in order to subtract or add, we need the denominators to be all the same. And we don't have same denominators everywhere. Denominators are 8, 4, and 2. So the lowest common multiple, or the lowest of numbers 8, 4, and 2, or the lowest common denominator, will be the number 8. And that means we have to make each denominator 8. The first one is already 8. The second one can become 8 if we multiply by 2. Multiply numerator, denominator. The last one, multiply by 4, numerator and denominator. So we say we have negative 5 over 8, plus 2 over 8, minus 20 over 8. And we have all denominators the same, which means we can draw one big line for the fraction with denominator 8, negative 5, plus 2, minus 20. Negative 5 plus 2 minus 20 would be negative 23 over 8. This would be the final answer. So go ahead and practice the rest of the questions. It's only 2 more questions. And Let me know if you need any help in the comments. And I hope that you enjoyed the lesson, and I hope that everything made sense. Remember that these are quite dense lessons because we are trying to put together all the main and the big concepts and review them just before the new grade 9 starts. Bye for now, and thanks for watching.